Hi, I'm Melody Roth, and I'm so excited to be here today to tell you all about the chip art collection and show you how to use it. I am so excited that I designed this for GCD Studios, and we have the whole collection here, and we're actually going to make a project. So the project that we're going to do today, I'm going to kind of walk you through, is just one of our journals. And so it's got a cover and a whole bunch of pages. But what I'm going to show you how to do is how to decorate this great cover and get this look from the tools and also from paint. The first thing that I did is I took the cover that came inside the package, and then I decided which tools that I wanted to use. So on this one, I actually used flowers that were already flowers, and then I used petals, and so there's petals and there's also flower centers, and so you can see that there. And so I have to get everything ready and out here so that it's all ready. And then a lot of times I will go through and sketch with a pencil where I want things to be ahead of time before I start to work on it, so that everything's planned out and calculated. Now, some important things that I need to add right away is that it's so important that you use the right parts of the collection, or else you won't be successful with it. If you don't use a solid surface, this is designed specifically to be used with the chip art program. It's called the pounding block, and it's probably one of the most important pieces for your artistic success with this tool. You have to absolutely have a surface that's solid and won't bounce or have any give to it. So please, please, please use this, or a marble slab or something that has absolutely no give, or I promise it just won't work out for you. The other thing is you've got to use a mallet that's a poly mallet, and this one, you know, it matches, it's beautiful, it's perfect, the trajectory is exactly right. I mean, it's designed specifically for this. Please don't ever use a hammer, because it will completely destroy your tools, and it'll also be a little bit too much force. So the tool's extremely important. And the next piece that you need every single time is the hand. And all of the sets, they come in sets of 3 like this, and usually they'll have a couple small ones or one small one and 2 large ones, and they just fit. You just take them right out of the foam, and this is the storage. This is the storage for them, and there'll be a case that this all fits into, but for now these fit perfectly inside of the foam. And so you just put it right on the edge that has the little ball bearing. Oops, that's a big one. And just put it right on there, and it has a nice snap to it so it holds really tight. And then when you're done, just put it back in the foam. And this is what, if you're looking for it at the store, this is what those will look like. Now I am going to be using shapes as well as alphabets. And the alphabets I love because they come in these collectible tins. And this is called the Sparrow alphabet, so these are the numbers. The other thing that you need is water, and this is an important tip too. Don't over water, over wet, over saturate your chipboard. The reason you need water is because it's going to soften up the chipboard so that it accepts the deboss. You want to get a really nice deep deboss. So I did this kind of fanned out. This is called, there's a burst set. And so I use that. It's great for the border because it has all these bursts that accept the antiquing gel that we'll make at the end. So I have the burst right here, and I'm going to put it on the tool. And then all you have to do, and I'll put it up here. Usually I would keep it down on the pounding block, but is just spray the area that you're going to do. Spray it one time, and see how it's changing color. Just wait for it to change color. Put it back down. Just wait just a minute, and then. The other thing to keep in mind about this is well, it's loud, but it's something that where imperfections are actually more charming to it. So if you're not, you know, if you want to be a little bit more precise, you know, make a pencil line or whatever with a ruler, or you can just freestyle it, which is what I do. And I actually really love the little quirky imperfections because it looks like real art when you're done with it. So I do the best I can to make it as aligned as I can, but I'm totally cool with it if it goes a little wonky. So I'm going to put it exactly where I want it, and then on the smaller ones, just try to do it with, hold it really firm and try to do it with just 1 pound, just like that. Wow. It's all good. Okay, so you can see it made a really nice deep deboss. So I would go and do that all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and show you. Okay, so I would do that all the way across to get that look. I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens when you use a bigger one, what you might need to do sometimes. Maybe like this flower that I used a lot. Really important that, like I said, that you try to minimize the amount of pounds, because sometimes it'll bounce and you'll get a duplicate impression. Which, if you get that, like I said, like you can see right here where I accidentally bounced, you know, and to me it's fine. I mean, I just painted over the petal, and it just kind of adds to the quirky. This totally looks handmade. I mean, you couldn't go, you know, duplicate this and buy this somewhere else. This looks completely like a piece of handmade art, and so that kind of adds to it, I think. So I try not to make mistakes. When I do, I just embrace them. So if I'm doing a bigger one, sometimes I'll make sure that it's in one really good spot, and then I'll just tip it to just a little bit. Make sure it stays exactly in the same spot, but tip it just a tiny bit to each side, and then do one solid one right in the middle. And then you'll make sure you get a really consistent deep impression. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I achieved the look, the kind of the look of the leather. So this is just raw chipboard, and then I, you know, punched it around the edge, and I made my mixture of Mod Podge and brown paint, and I'm going to paint over. Now normally I'd have this whole thing punched and painted so I could do this all at once. This is just, I'll just do this top half, and it's going to be, you know, look kind of solid like that. I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to wipe it off. In between, you'll be wetting it, and then you'll be debossing it. Let it dry before you move on to the antiquing step, or else it'll just get really soggy and just, you know, kind of start to fall apart. So you're going to let all that dry. If I was going to do this look, I would paint this, you know, the blue paint, and I would set that aside and let it dry, and then I would put the antiquing stuff on it, and again just wipe it off. You know, and like I made this one. This is the same deal. Just punched some flowers in there, painted it green, punched some flowers in there, and then did the antiquing gel, and, you know, just took. But one of the things you'll find is that the smaller the punch, the less pressure that you have to apply. So it takes a little bit of practice, like on this tiny stuff. If this wasn't such a thick chipboard, like if you have some chipboard around the house that you want to use, if you apply too much force on these smaller punches, sometimes they'll go right through. This chipboard's really thick. The chip art chipboard's really thick, so that won't happen. But if you want to do a word, L, just put it right on there. I'm going to do it right in the middle. And these honestly just take one. I'm going to purposefully do my E backwards. What happens if you mess up? Okay, so I have an upside down E, okay? Now, if it's still wet, don't wet it again, like I said, because it'll get too mushy. Just, you'll be able to see that this will go right back down inside that groove. Make sure it's in exactly the same place. And by some magic, it kind of fills it back in, and it'll just go right back over it, and it'll fill in where the edges are. So, especially on the letters, if you mess up, you can go back and fix it. Okay, so it's pretty amazing to me that you can go from this, which is a really inexpensive piece of chipboard, to a total masterpiece just with a couple of tools. And I think you're just going to have a total blast with this, and I wish you the best.